It's getting more and more creative, and they're taking more risks.
Right.
And I think that's a great thing. I think with art, you have to take risks. So I have nothing but love for all of it.
I actually have a personal question for you.
Uh-oh.
What are you more excited for fans to get their hands on? Persona 5 Royal or Persona Scramble?
Okay. Personal opinion question.
Yes,
I
personal
see.
opinion.
I thought you were going to be like, are you single?
Well, actually.
Persona 5 Scramble or Persona 5 Royal? Well, I don't know what's been announced, and I don't know what I can say. So I'm excited for fans to get their hands on both of those. Can someone tell me what has been announced about Royal?
Royal is out in Japan.
It's out in Japan,
Yes.
and have they said anything about the English?
They
Cool.
said next year, I think in April or something like that, but it's not fully confirmed what month. It's just saying that's next year.
Basically,
Okay.
it exists.
So they said it will be out, and it
Yes.
exists.
Yeah.
Great. Cool. Yup. I know a little bit about Royal. I don't know what I can say. I can never remember what I can say. I don't even know if I've announced anything. But anyway, I'm excited for it. That's what I can say. I'm excited for it to hit the streets and for people to hear the things. And that is if I'm doing it. Wink, wink. No, I don't know. I know that it's gonna be good. And if I were to do it, I'd reprise my role as Ryuji. And then Scramble's just been announced. I don't know anything about Scramble. But Royal, there's a safe bet that I'm gonna be in it at some point. But, wink. No wink. I didn't mean to say wink. I cannot confirm or deny.
Yeah, okay, so what One Punch question wasn't asked yet?
None actually.
Yeah.
I'm the first?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, alright. Well, what'd you think of Saitama and how you got into his head? Oh, literally his bald head,
What did I think of him? I thought that he's a sad, sad man. I was saying to the other interviewers before, it's amazing. I had 2 interviewers before you guys, and now there's 20 of us in a room. Well, I auditioned for 5 characters for that show. It was Saitama, Speed of Sound Sonic, Amaya Mask, Genos. Why am I forgetting the other one? Oh, Moomin Rider. And I thought for sure I'd get Genos or something.
Yeah.
And then, because my experience with that was, I got the auditions, and I was just gonna do my regular anime thing. And then my friend Ray Chase, who plays Pori Pori Prisoner and Dr. Genos, he was like, you gotta watch the show, dude. And I was like, no, it's anime, I get it, I don't wanna. And he's like, no, you gotta watch the show, really. So I watched the first episode, I binged the next 11, and then I was really nervous to audition, because all I wanted was Saitama.
Yeah.
And, but it gave me a really, really good idea of who that person was, who that character was, and I would never have given the audition that I gave without the context that gave. The show is so different, you could never guess who that character is just by looking at the picture. So, it took me a bit to get in his head, but it really helped by watching that, and then there was a 2-month callback process to where basically the producer, the translator, he honed in the reads to work on who the character was. And then when you're in the booth, when you're doing episode 1, you're really honing in on the character. And they take a lot of time nailing down what he sounds like, who he is, and then they move on from there and they kind of speed up. So yeah, who is he? He's this bored guy, but not really. He's just looking for a challenge. He's not lazy. And that contributes to his sort of, laissez-faire attitude. Yeah.
It's so his voice is so relatable and stuff. When I heard the English voice, I was like, they nailed it. This is great.
Thank you. You can't do what they did in Japanese, because in the Japanese language, you have all these different inflections that you don't have in English.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out how to make that work for an American audience. And the way they did it was how he sounds. Yeah. Anybody else?
I know you also voiced Meruem from Hunter x Hunter.
Yes.
Is there any moment where you don't see him as a villain, he was just a newborn kind of person?
About halfway through, right? He evolves. I love that story because it really is truly an arc. where he starts off as one character and really ends up as someone entirely different. Spoiler alert, but he dies. But I think it's so touching. He dies. His death is like everything about that last episode is so earned, through his friendship with Komugi. So I cried in recording that episode. I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I was going in that day to record that episode, and they were like, "It's the last episode." I was like, "What? What do you mean it's the last episode?" They're like, "Yeah, you die." I was like, "Huh?" I was like, "Okay." As I was watching it, it was so, they let it, normally they'll play like 5-10 seconds and then you'll record whatever you just saw. So they'll play the scene in Japanese, you're watching it to picture, and then it'll go beep, 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 and then you say the lines to lip flap. But they let me watch they kept it rolling for like 3 minutes so I could see the whole scene and how it played out. As tears were streaming down my face, I was like, "Okay, let's record now! Go!" So it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So Saitama is probably like your most commonly associated role. Are you kind of satisfied with that, or is there another character you wish more people would recognize you as?
I think Ryuji is actually my most associated role. Weirdly, you'd think it would be Saitama, but I think that most of the people come up to me at cons for Ryuji to talk about Persona 5. Saitama is like a close second, I would say, or they're about even. But no, I'm lucky to be known as anybody. You know what I mean? To be able to have a character that is so widely known. I think maybe as a whole, One Punch Man is more known by people. Like my dad will, whenever he talks to someone and he starts telling them about me and my career, he'll be like, my son is the One Punch Man. And I'll be like, and he'll tell me that. He'll be like, I was talking to so-and-so on the plane going to China, and we just had a conversation, and I was telling him, you're the One Punch Man. And he knows it. People he talks to know it. It's amazing the reach that has. So I'm just so fortunate that I'm a part of any of the properties I'm a part of, and that one especially.
You play Mom's brother, Ritsu, from Mob Psycho. How did it feel from the growth in the first season? He didn't really talk to his brother. He was trying to stay away from. And now season 2, he got closer, and he became his brother to actually be as a family and help protect the whole town and city getting destroyed. How did it feel with the progression growth?
Classic brother rivalry. That was cool. The rivalry they had was I don't mean rivalry. I mean he's got a little bit of jealousy of him, right, in the beginning, and then he's sort of protective of him later on, which I think is cool. So there's another arc. What I think is cool, I think what the best anime have is the characters evolve in whatever anime it is, and so and those are also the most enjoyable for me to play. So it's rad. What was specifically the question?
Was you worried that he was going to turn bad?
That he was going to turn bad? Yeah. Well, because he does get a little weird there at some point. So you don't really know where that's going. I wasn't worried about it. If he turned bad, I would have loved to play him as a bad guy. That's always fun. So I'm not worried, but I'm glad he ended up how he did. I think that's better. I think love is a really powerful thing, and they went that direction with it.
Are there any either vocal types or personality types that you find more difficult than others?
Yeah, I did Star Wars Battlefront, where I played a Quarren creature, like a tentacle guy who speaks in a different language, and he's just all gravel, all deep, all yelling all the time. And he's like this big guy, and so that's tough to sustain. I think I lost my voice every time I went in there.
And then are there any personality types that you find hard to engage with?
Personality types? Yeah. No. At this point, I don't find it difficult. No, I really enjoy just doing new characters. There's not really any personality types that I find difficult, per se. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Saitama was like a challenge to figure out a little bit, because he's not an archetype. He's something else entirely. Other than that, Yeah, that's about it. But that actually Saitama would have been a difficult one. But then I kind of locked into him. Yeah. Do you have a question? Yeah.
Yeah. I know you voiced King in Seven Deadly Sins.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, how did you approach that character with his type of personality?
King. King. How did I approach King? I gotta think back to that. I don't remember, because I don't remember the audition, or I don't remember too much about how we started there. I think he changed a little bit. Like, you could even probably hear it in the show. Like, he changed, the voice changed a little bit because his personality changed a little bit. Like, in episode 1, he's kind of laid back, and he's like, hey, Bon, I'm gonna kill you. And then, he doesn't sound like that. And then later on, he's so much more bubbly and lively, and nobody told me he was gonna change like that. And so I was like, oh, I guess I gotta change the voice now. So the voice changes slightly just based off of what happens, how his character changes. Yeah, that's always a little frustrating for me, not knowing where the character ends up, because I like to sort of nail it in the beginning, and then sometimes I want to say to the director, like, can we do those 7 episodes over again, please? Once I figure it out. So, yeah, does that answer your question, kind of? Ish?
Ish.
It's an awful answer.
It's good enough.
Good enough.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
All right, so you're playing Totomatsu in the dub for Mr. Osamatsu.
Am I? I don't know. It's not out yet, so... no, I am. That was definitely announced, but it's definitely not out.
It's definitely not out, but I'm wondering, because I've seen the original Japanese version. If you've started recording it yet, or rather, how you balance both his cute side and, to put it bluntly, the more shitbag element that all the subplets have.
I have to see it when it comes out. I can say this much. I am recording it. We go very slow. I've been recording like 1 episode every 3 months. Wow. What are we doing, you guys? Come on, let's put this out into the world.
Movie just came.
That's a little exaggeration. We're doing a little more than that. But we haven't finished, and it's really fun to play. There's been some really top-notch adaptations into English. Some of the lines are extremely funny. That's another one of the shows that when I auditioned for, I was like, I really want to be in this. This is a fun show. So, yeah, I guess you just have to see it when it comes out, which I don't know when will be. Yeah.
If you had, do you have, other than Ryuji, do you have a favorite character in Persona 5?
Other than Ryuji, do I have a favorite character in Persona 5? Nope. I love Ryuji. He's my favorite. Yeah, I don't think so. Nope, the answer to that one is no. I don't have an answer with a 1-word answer, but that's pretty easy for me. Ryuji's my fave.
So you've been able to work on a lot of different works by the mangaka One.
Yeah.
Like Mob Psycho, One Punch Man. So do you have any particular inspirations or takeaways from reading his works, or favorite parts? I
haven't read too much of his stuff, but just working on his stuff, my takeaway would be that this is a guy, I think this is a good takeaway for everybody. This is a guy who just created something that he enjoyed. It was pure enjoyment. I don't think he was ever looking to monetize this and make it a billion-dollar property, I think it was just out of the goodness of his heart, just wanted to do something fun. And I think that's important for people to do, is to find a hobby just for fun, go for it. That guy knew he wasn't a good artist. That guy knew that his art wasn't gonna make it to TV, but he had a dream and he went after it. He did it. He didn't just think about it. He didn't just philosophize, what if I did a comic and put it online? No, he did it, and he kept doing it. I think that's a really, really, really important lesson. I think doing is the most important thing when it comes to creativity. You can only think about things for so long. I have a problem with that sometimes. I produce music a little bit, and I a lot of times will think about the thing I'm gonna produce, and it'll never get done. you just have to sit down and go after it. So that's my takeaway from that. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to ask if you have a favorite character that you played, and an add-on, what character would you like to play that you haven't had the chance to actually play?
My favorite character is tough to choose because I love them all for different reasons.
Yes.
I love Ryuji, he's close to my heart. Saitama, One Punch Man is such a unique anime, I love that. I love it all for different reasons. What would I like to play? It's a similar answer. I want to play everything. Everything I audition for, I want to book. And the majority of it, obviously, you don't book.
Mm-hmm.
But I was saying before too, like maybe myself. Maybe it would be cool to play a character named Max Mittelman or Max Mittelman. I don't know. But yeah, it'd be cool to play myself in something. That'd be fun.
All right.
You know, like Bill Cosby. Ooh. I didn't mean that. No, actually, I actually did it. No, Fat Albert. He played Fat Albert. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Anyway, moving on.
Would you prefer to go to the beach or go on a picnic?
Neither. I hate both of them. The beach is not my favorite. Yes.
Yeah, given that Persona 5 was such a long game that based like 60 hours, was there a lot of time constraint recording for that?
Time constraint. You mean
like crunch?
Crunch time? And there's always a crunch. There's always like a period where they're like, oh, we're gonna get to the deadline. But the cool thing about voiceover is like normally it can be like, unlike say shooting a film, you can't really move those dates around. If you're sick, you gotta work while you're sick. With voiceover, you can kind of be like, guys, can we push the deadline by 2 days? And be like, okay. So, but there is always sort of a crunch time. Yeah.
Any role?
Last question. Yes.
Any role or any position where you have to improv, where you have no prep time for what you need to say, but you actually literally like doing?
Role where I need to improv?
Yes.
All the time. Not really for anime, but for a lot of the original animation stuff I do for like Cartoon Network and Disney and Nickelodeon. You get to do ad libs and improv, and the director gets to choose if they want to keep it or not. But a lot of times I get to keep that in. I got to beatbox for a show called Breadwinners, and they kept it in. The line said humming, and I beatboxed it instead, and they were like, "Yep." They kept it in, and not only that, they gave me a composer credit. But favorite credit on IMDb. Thank you guys. Have fun.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.